Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving headfirst into the intense, highly cinematic, and honestly, wildly unpredictable world of AEW pay-per-views. Look, if you've ever watched an all-elite wrestling event and found yourself just sitting on the absolute edge of your seat, completely unsure of what's going to happen next, you're definitely not alone. There's actually a very specific architecture to how these events are put together. It's a structural design meant to keep you guessing from the opening bell all the way to the moment the broadcast fades to black. So today we're going to dig into the source material and break down exactly how AEW crafts this completely unique viewing experience. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's start with this brilliant concept straight from our sources. AEW shows don't move like ordinary wrestling events. They move like unpredictable forces of nature. Our sources actually describe them perfectly. They move like storms. And if you think about what a storm actually is, it makes total sense. You might check the forecast, you might see those dark clouds rolling in, but you literally never know exactly where the lightning is going to strike. You just know you're right in the middle of it. That intense, atmospheric tension is exactly what an AEW pay-per-view is trying to replicate. You can practically feel the electricity in the arena, and that energy translates right through your screen.
To put that into perspective, picture your standard, ordinary wrestling show. It usually follows a pretty safe, predictable formula, right? The entire focus is basically just on the end result. You know, who won and who lost. But an AEW PPV, it's fundamentally different. You might know the announced card and the rivalries coming into the night, and you might even think you know exactly who's going to win. But once that show actually starts, AEW has this distinct habit of making you feel like absolutely anything can happen. The true unpredictability comes from the chaotic journey itself, not just the final bell.
That storm-like atmosphere essentially boils down to controlled chaos. At any given second during one of these events, the entire landscape of the company can shift. I mean, a major championship could unexpectedly change hands. A dominant, long-standing faction might suddenly collapse from a totally shocking betrayal. Or an unannounced star from a partner promotion could walk right through that entrance tunnel and completely blow the roof off the arena. You are never safe to just quickly check your phone because a match that was already billed as violent could escalate into something far more dangerous than anyone saw coming.
Moving on to Section 1, no single main character and the shifting spotlight.
A huge reason these events feel so alive is that AEW doesn't revolve around a single protagonist. Instead, it's an incredibly deep ensemble cast, where the spotlight is totally fluid. For 1 hour, MJF can grab the microphone, completely command the arena, and feel like the undeniable face of the company. But then, literally the very next match, Will Ospreay steps into the ring and performs at such a breathtaking level that he becomes the absolute soul of the night. Then you've got elements like Swerve Strickland bringing this palpable aura of danger, or Hangman Page bringing an intense, grounded, emotional violence to his storylines. And honestly, the depth just keeps going. You have a performer like Kenny Omega bringing immense legacy and international prestige. You've got Darby Allin bringing pure, unadulterated madness and a willingness to put his body on the line in unbelievable ways. And of course, you have Jon Moxley bringing an atmosphere of sheer, gritty war. When you have a roster packed with these distinct, powerful personas all on the same night, the entire show feels like a high-stakes thriller. It feels alive because literally anyone can become the main character of the night, depending on how those matches unfold.
That brings us to Section 2, Wrestling Chaos with a Purpose, Blending Different Worlds.
So how do they actually pull this off? AEW creates this unique magic by throwing completely different wrestling worlds into the exact same chaotic arena. Look at this explosive global blend. On the exact same card, thanks to partnerships with promotions like NJPW, CMLL, and Stardom, you can get the stiff, punishing strikes of Japanese strong style right next to the high-flying acrobatics of Lucha Libre. You get classic, drama-heavy American storytelling, followed immediately by unrestrained hardcore violence and tag-team insanity. Throw in those international dream matches and surprise appearances, and it just keeps the audience completely off balance in the absolute best way possible.
Because of this incredible stylistic variety, there is really no such thing as a filler match on these shows. A mid-card technical wrestling bout, something you might have thought was just there to, bridge the gap between two larger stories, can suddenly turn into an absolute masterpiece. It can become the defining moment that steals the entire night, a match that fans and critics are talking about for years to come. In AEW, every single match has the potential, the freedom, and the mandate to be the best thing on the show.
All right, Section 3, main events are like war, the climax of the night.
As the storm of the night escalates through all these different styles and character shifts we've been talking about, we finally arrive at the main events. And these feel way less like athletic sporting contests and much more like brutal emotional battles. By the time you reach this point in the broadcast, the fundamental question has totally changed. You're no longer just watching to see who wins a championship belt or who gets their hand raised. You are watching to see who breaks under the unimaginable physical and psychological pressure, who rises past their absolute limits, and who commits the ultimate betrayal when all the chips are down.
I absolutely love this quote from our source material because it perfectly captures the dark, intense reality of an AEW pay-per-view climax. You are watching to see who survives. That right there is the magic of the storm they create. By mixing styles, rotating the spotlight, and allowing matches to escalate into uncontrolled violence, the end of the night feels like the aftermath of a natural disaster. You aren't just cheering for a victor, you're exhaling a sigh of relief because the characters you actually care about managed to make it through to the other side. Which leaves us with this final, lingering thought to wrap up our explainer today. We've seen the architecture of this unpredictability. We know exactly how beautifully chaotic, emotionally exhausting, and brilliantly dangerous these events are designed to be. So, the only question left to ask yourself is this: when the next storm hits, who will survive? Thanks so much for joining me today to explore the chaotic brilliance of AEW pay-per-views.